That snaps for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon,
We
you want one
can't, we
quick
can't, we
question?
can't ask Rashad questions.
Good to move to the next topic. So we're good to move to the next topic. And the next topic that I want to speak about are journalists cheering on the job. So this student journalist, Talia Baya, she recorded herself cheering at the national championship game and things of that sort. She's been recording herself throughout the course of the NCAA tournament, like kind of cheering and being nervous for the team. I guess, kind of some old heads in journalism, like we're like, yo, this isn't good. And at the end of the day, it just kind of comes down to like respect for the profession and showing respect to the public. Like, journalist's job is to have as least biases as possible to present a fair and truthful story to the public, to the readers. Um, Present what the news is, what the facts are to the fans, to the readers, and let them kind of like go and give their opinions off of that and stuff. So, a great example would be like on the channel, right? The entire Carmelo situation. So the first thing was just a first initial hearing the story and giving my initial thoughts on the Carmelo situation, right? After that, I just straight up read the news report and the facts. So it was less commentary, just more. Here's what the people are saying, not going off the rumors that were going around online and still are going around online and stuff like that. Just sticking to the verifiable facts and things of that sort. And, that's journalism versus commentary and versus opinion versus this. What this young lady is doing right here, it's more so content creation of a social media influencer. And while she's in the locker room doing the interviews and she's still putting in work and stuff like that, she's more so kind of going for a influencer role within the media space. And I think the lines have been blurred within media probably since like 2018, 2019, 2020 of like an influencer versus a traditional journalist or a reporter. Like, I think people have the lines blurred between reporters, commentators, and influencers. And because they're all on the same type of network, same platform. So it's like, who's who? And it's dangerous because if you got an influencer who's obviously a fan of a place, then that can, what I'm saying, sway their way that they present their reports or anything like that. You're thinking it's a news report. Whole time it's just a Florida fan speaking about our team, you know. And that just sways everything. Sways what you think of it. Like, say, I grew up an anti-Celtics fan. Like, I hate the Celtics, so I never give Jason Tatum his props. Like, I'm like, oh, they're like, what about Tatum? This is, just doesn't do it for me. He's boring. And I put out this narrative that Jason Tatum's boring. And it's not because I actually think that Jason Tatum plays a boring brand of basketball, but because I just hate the Celtics. And I've always hated the Celtics since I was a kid. That's a dangerous narrative to start. Now Jason Tatum's getting less brand deals and less this and that opportunities to make money off the court and to get off season postseason awards because like people aren't voting for him because they aren't talking about him in the media every day and stuff like that. That stuff has a trickle down effect. The media is very powerful, bro, whether you want to admit it or not, because the media, like in the word, is like medium, right? So we're the medium between what like kind of happens and then versus like how the people receive it, how the masses receive what happened, right? The medium or the medium between that, the media. So it's like we're very powerful people, bro. Like, who was a good example? um you'll think, say, huh, I'm trying to think of a player. I can't think of an immediate player, but think of a player, right, who was, no, I don't think that's a good example. But say if Isaiah Thomas, right? He was the MVP candidate with Boston, had an amazing season that year. Was that 2015-ish, 2016, 2017? Had amazing season that year with Boston. Boston ends up trading him for Kyrie Irving. So now he's in Cleveland. So now he's in Cleveland. Um, he's in Cleveland, and he doesn't get as much time because it's a crowded backcourt. They bring in Dwayne Wade. LeBron brings up the ball most of the time anyway, and it's just not the best fit. So now you have people saying, I don't think Isaiah Thomas is the player he once was. I don't think his size will allow him to be as dominant as he once was in the NBA for a prolonged period of time. And so now that's the narrative on Isaiah Thomas, and now Isaiah Thomas can't get in in the in the NBA anymore. He's out the loop. He can't get on the roster spot and everything like that because people are just like, he's peaked. He's had his thing. Yeah. Hold on. Let me respond to this. Yeah, so that's a way just immediately that narratives can really direct like a player's career. Um, say if LaMelo Ball became a free agent in a couple of years, and people are like, LaMelo Ball is talented, but he's never healthy. He's never available. His value can go so far down in a free agent market, and he'll have to sign a much smaller deal than what his talent is and stuff like that, and what his career has demanded, just because the narrative of he doesn't play is out there. So I mean, it's like narratives really. Ben Simmons, oh man, narratives destroyed him before his own mental and his own confidence destroyed his own career, and where he's become a journeyman around the league and played for Brooklyn, and now he's on the Clippers and stuff like that. His career could have went a whole different way if it weren't for a large part of narratives and narratives getting in his head and getting to him and affecting his play on the court and things of that sort. Somebody else said, famously on a podcast, they said PG allowed media narratives and what people said about him really affect his own court play and stuff like that. Like, these things matter, bro. And any way of being swayed as a journalist, bro, can be detrimental to the other side, just because it's like for you might be and then it's like Florida, right? Florida is the same school with student journalists where they exposed a coach last year. The student newspaper exposed the coach for something that they were doing behind the scenes. I can't recall the story, but I just remember the students did that. They broke the story. It was a big deal. The student newspaper did that. If something like that were to happen to this basketball team and this particular reporter knew about it, she'd be more hesitant to even report the news. You know what I'm saying? She'd be hesitant to report the news because it's like, those are my friends. I'm fans of them. I'm this, I'm that. They expect this of me. They expect this behavior of me. They expect a certain level of protection because we're friends. We're cool. And now it's affecting her doing her job, her ability to do her job, because everybody thinks that they're friends now. And if she reports and does her job, oh, now you fake. Everybody turns on her. Everybody ices her out. This is why, me personally, the approach I take, I'm pretty much distant from everybody, even the people I'm closest with in the space. I'm closer with some athletes and everything like that in the space than others. But all in all, I'm distant from the athletes and the subjects, because if you mess up, I'm going to have to report on it. And if you mess up and I report on it, then dang, you know what I'm saying? You looking at me like, bro, you a op. You texting me, don't text my phone again. You fake snakes in the grass. And it's like, bro, whole time I was just doing my job. You the one that got arrested for speeding at 2 a.m. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do that. But now you thinking like I wasn't holding you down as a homeboy, or, you know what I'm saying, as a brother, or whatever the case might be. Because that's the way that you kind of held in your head, the standard you had for me in your head and stuff like that. So, yeah, I say all of this to say it is very important that journalists don't cheer. I say all that to say that journalists should not cheer, bro. So yeah, for sure. Okay.
That's for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
And Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
We can't ask Rashad a question.
Hey, Rashad.